Billionaire CEO came home early. What he saw his maid teaching his daughter left him speechless. Alexander Grant came home early. He walked into his study and stopped. His daughter Emily was sitting at the whiteboard. Next to her stood Maya, the maid, holding a marker. The board was full of strange symbols and long equations. "What are you doing?" Alexander said, his voice loud and cold. Emily jumped. "Dad, please, what is this?" he asked again, stepping closer. "I hire teachers for this, not maids." Maya's hands shook. "I'm sorry, sir." She asked me a question. "I was only trying to help." "Help?" Alexander laughed without smiling. What do you know about this?" Emily's voice cracked. "She knows a lot more than you think. She helped me understand calculus." "Sit down, Emily," Alexander said. "Don't talk back." "You don't have to talk to her like that," Emily said, eyes wet with anger. "Enough," he shouted. "Her job is to clean, not to teach." The room went silent. Maya looked down, picked up the eraser, and started wiping the board. But Alexander watched her hand. The equations, they weren't random. They were complex, perfect. Something about them looked familiar. "Wait," he said. "Where did you learn this?" Maya stopped. She stood still, then turned slowly. "At Columbia University, sir." He stared at her. "What?" "I used to teach mathematics there," she said quietly. Emily gasped. "You taught there?" Alexander's face went blank. He took a step back, lost for words. You were a professor?" Maya nodded. "Yes, sir." Before life changed, he didn't speak. His eyes stayed on her, searching for truth. Emily looked at her father. "I told you, Dad, she's not just a maid." Alexander swallowed hard. "Then why are you here?" "Because sometimes life takes everything," Maya said softly. "Even your name." The marker in her hand dropped to the floor. The sound echoed through the quiet room. Alexander looked at the whiteboard again. At the half-erased equations he couldn't understand. Something told him that this moment was not the end of a mistake. It was the start of something he wasn't ready for. Alexander didn't move for a long time. He just stared at Maya as if she had said something impossible. "You were a professor?" he finally asked. "Yes, sir," Maya said quietly. "Mathematics. I taught there for 6 years." He shook his head. "That doesn't make sense. Why would someone like you be working here as a maid?" Her eyes lowered. "Because sometimes one wrong moment destroys everything." Emily stood beside her, nervous but curious. "What happened?" Maya's voice softened. "I made the mistake of trusting someone I loved. He stole my research, my name, and left me with nothing. No one believed me. I lost my job. My reputation. Everything." Alexander frowned, but something in her voice made him listen. "And now you clean houses?" Maya nodded. "Yes, sir. I do what I must to live." He crossed his arms. "That's tragic. But you should have told me before taking over my daughter's study session." "She didn't take over, Dad," Emily said quickly. "I asked her. None of my tutors could explain it right." "She did." Alexander looked at his daughter. "You don't understand how the world works, Emily. People must know their place." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Her place? She's a human being." Maya touched her shoulder gently. "It's all right, sweetheart. Your father is right. I shouldn't have interfered." Alexander turned toward his desk, trying to focus on anything else, but his eyes went back to the half-erased symbols on the board. "You said you taught at Columbia," he said again, quieter this time. "Show me something." Maya blinked. "Sir?" He stepped forward, grabbing a marker and tossing it toward her. "If you really taught there, prove it." She hesitated. Emily looked at her father, then at Maya. "You don't have to, Maya," she said softly. Maya's hand trembled. "It's okay." She walked back to the board and began writing. Numbers, letters, signs, everything moved fast, smooth, confident. She filled the board in seconds. Alexander watched, silent. When she stepped back, she said, "This is one of my theorems, sir. It was published 8 years ago." He read the first few lines and froze. He knew that name. The formula. It had been in Forbes magazine. written by a Dr. M. Carter. His heart dropped. M. Carter, he whispered. That was you. Maya nodded. Yes, sir. Alexander's throat went dry. He had quoted that research in one of his company's tech patents. He had made millions off that algorithm, never knowing the woman who created it was cleaning his floors. He turned away, shaken. I don't believe this. Emily stepped closer to Maya. Dad, now do you see? She's not a maid. She's a genius. Maya smiled faintly. I'm just someone trying to start again. But Alexander didn't respond. His mind was spinning. His own company, his empire, had used her work. He suddenly looked up at her, his face pale. Maya, who was the man who stole your research? Maya's smile faded. Her eyes filled with quiet pain. You wouldn't believe me, sir, she said. You already know him. Alexander's chest tightened. What do you mean? Maya took a deep breath. He works for you. The color drained from his face. Emily gasped. Dad? Maya looked him straight in the eyes. The man who ruined my life is your business partner. Alexander's face turned pale. His hand gripped the edge of the desk. My business partner? He said slowly. Maya nodded. Yes, sir. His name is Daniel Cross. For a moment, there was only silence. The same Daniel Cross who had been with him since the start. The man he called his brother in business. The man who helped build his empire. Alexander's voice came out rough. That's impossible. Daniel is loyal. He would never. Maya looked straight into his eyes. He already did. Emily looked between them, confused and scared. Who's Daniel? Alexander didn't answer. His mind was racing. You're saying he stole your work? Maya nodded. 8 years ago, I shared my algorithm with him for peer review. A month later, he published it under his own name. He was offered a contract from your company. And the rest, you already know. Alexander sank into his chair, disbelief spreading across his face. He remembered that year. Daniel had shown him that same formula, claiming it was his breakthrough idea. It became the base of their company's technology, the one that made them billions. My God, he whispered. Emily's voice shook. Dad, if that's true, then Maya's the real inventor. Maya smiled sadly. Not that it matters now. I have no proof left. The world moved on. Alexander looked at her, guilt burning in his eyes. You lost everything because of us. I lost everything because of him, she said quietly. But yes, your company helped him build it. The air in the room grew heavy. Emily touched Maya's hand. You should tell the world the truth. Maya shook her head. I tried once. No one listened. They said I was bitter, jealous, desperate. I learned to stay quiet. Alexander stood up, pacing. His mind was on fire. No, I need to see it myself. I'll pull every record, every document. If what you're saying is true, Daniel will answer for this. Maya didn't react. Her eyes were tired, calm. Be careful, sir. Men like him don't lose easily. He turned to her. You're not afraid? I was, she said softly. But when your daughter asked me to teach her, something changed. I realized I still have something left. Knowledge. No one can steal that. Alexander looked at her differently now. Not as a maid, but as someone he had wronged without even knowing it. Emily spoke up. Dad, please help her. I will, Alexander said firmly. If Daniel really did this, he's finished. He turned toward the door, ready to leave. But then he stopped. Maya, he said. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Her eyes filled with quiet pain. Because men like you don't believe women like me. The words hit him hard. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Maya picked up her cleaning cloth. I should get back to work. He stopped her. No, you're not cleaning another floor in this house. Not after what I just heard. Maya looked surprised. Sir, I'll make this right, Alexander said. His voice was low, but his eyes were burning. I don't care how long it takes. He walked out, phone already in hand. Emily turned to Maya, whispering, He'll help you. I know he will. Maya gave a tired smile. I stopped believing in help a long time ago. But when she looked at the half-erased whiteboard, a small spark of hope flickered inside her. That night, Alexander couldn't sleep, and by morning, the world he thought he knew, his partner, his company, his truth, would begin to fall apart. The next morning, Alexander was at his office before sunrise. The city was still half asleep, but his mind wasn't. He couldn't forget Maya's words. He called his assistant. "Bring me all the old research contracts from 8 years ago. Anything linked to Daniel Cross." "Yes, sir." For 2 hours, Alexander dug through files and records. Then he found it, an old patent. The name Daniel Cross on top, but right under it, in faint faded text, "Research source, M. Carter." He froze. His hands shook as he read the file again. Daniel had covered the line with his own signature. It was Maya's work, stolen, buried, and sold. His chest tightened. He picked up his phone. "Get Daniel in here. Now." When Daniel walked in, smiling as always, Alexander didn't return it. "Morning, Alex," Daniel said. "You look like you didn't sleep." "I didn't," Alexander said coldly. "Sit down." Daniel's smile faded. "What's wrong?" Alexander tossed the file on the table. "You tell me." Daniel flipped through it, pretending to read. "That's old data, Alex, from the early projects. Why are you bringing this up now?" "Because I found her name on it," Alexander said. "Maya Carter." Daniel froze for half a second, then smiled again. "Ah, yes, some assistant from the research team, wasn't she?" "Don't lie to me." Alexander's voice cracked with anger. "She wasn't an assistant. She was the author." Daniel leaned back, calm but calculating. "Alex, you've built your company on this. You really want to tear it apart over some maid?" Alexander slammed his hand on the desk. "She's not a maid." Daniel didn't flinch. "Then what is she now?" "Because last I checked, she cleans your house." Alexander's jaw clenched. "You used her work. You destroyed her life. And you used me to cover it up." Daniel's smile disappeared. "Watch your words, Alex. Everything we own, the company, the money, your empire, exists because of that project." "You can't undo it." Alexander stood up. "I'd rather lose everything than live with a lie." Daniel stood too. "You won't just lose money. You'll lose investors, your name, everything you've built. Think, Alex." Alexander's eyes burned. "You should have thought about that before stealing from her." Daniel's tone turned cold. "You can't prove anything." Alexander held up the paper. "This proves enough." Daniel stepped closer. "You expose me and the board will turn on you too. We're both in this. You need me." "I need the truth," Alexander said. Daniel stared at him for a long moment. Then he smirked. "Truth doesn't pay bills." He walked to the door, straightening his suit. "If you go after me, I'll take the whole company with me. Don't forget, Alex, I own half of it." The door shut behind him. Alexander stood still, breathing hard. The city outside looked smaller now. His hands shook. He had money, power, control, but at that moment, he felt like the poorest man alive. He looked down at the file again. M. Carter. Her name, almost erased. He whispered, "Not anymore." That night, Alexander drove back home. When Maya opened the door, she saw something different in his face. Not anger this time, but guilt. He handed her the file. "You were right," he said quietly. "He stole everything." Maya looked at the papers but didn't touch them. "I told you the truth, sir. I didn't expect you to believe it." "I didn't," Alexander admitted. "But I do now." She looked up, confused. "What will you do?" Alexander's eyes hardened. "I'll give you your name back." Maya shook her head. "You can't fight him. Men like Daniel don't lose." Alexander's voice was calm, steady. "Then we'll make him lose for the first time." Maya stared at him, not sure if she could believe him. But for the first time in years, she saw something real in his eyes. Not pity, not power, justice. And somewhere deep inside her, hope began to wake again. The next morning, Alexander was already waiting in the study when Maya came in with her cleaning cart. He stood by the whiteboard again, the same board where everything had started. "Maya," he said, "we're going to fix this." She stopped, unsure. "Sir, you don't have to. I do," Alexander interrupted. I looked through every record. You wrote that formula. Daniel stole it, changed a few symbols, and sold it as his own. Maya sighed. I told people that 8 years ago. No one believed me. They will now, Alexander said. I'll make them. She shook her head. You'll lose everything, sir. Your company, your reputation. I already lost my self-respect, he said quietly. I won't lose my soul, too. Maya looked at him, unsure if she should trust him. Why are you helping me now? Alexander met her eyes. Because I was blind. I believed the wrong man. And because my daughter saw something I didn't, the truth. Maya smiled faintly. Emily has a good heart. She does, Alexander said. And she deserves to know her father isn't a coward. He took a deep breath and turned the board toward her. Help me understand this formula. Every part of it. If we can prove Daniel copied it, he's finished. Maya hesitated. It's complicated. I can handle complicated, Alexander said. Just teach me. For the next 2 hours they worked side by side. She explained every symbol, every logic line. At first he struggled, but her calm voice and patience kept him going. He hadn't studied like that in years. When they finished, Alexander looked at her with a small, tired smile. You're an incredible teacher, Maya smiled back. I used to be. No, he said. You still are. Just then, Emily walked in and froze. Are you two studying together? Alexander turned to her. Yes, and you were right all along. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Dad, he nodded. She deserves justice. Maya looked away. Justice doesn't always come, sir. It will this time, Alexander said firmly. I'm calling a press conference tomorrow. The truth comes out, no matter the cost. Maya's eyes widened. You can't. Daniel will destroy you. He controls the board. He has lawyers, money, power. So do I, Alexander said. But I also have something he doesn't. Guilt. And it's time I use it to make things right. Maya was silent for a long moment. Then she said softly, If you do this, you'll lose everything you built. Alexander's answer came without hesitation. Then I'll start over. The right way this time. For the first time in years, Maya didn't know what to say. The man who had once judged her now stood ready to fight for her. As she turned to leave, Alexander said quietly, Be there tomorrow. You deserve to hear the world say your name again. She stopped in the doorway, tears in her eyes. No one said my name with respect in 8 years, sir. He looked at her. Then tomorrow they will. That night Maya sat in her small apartment, staring at the old newspaper that once called her a fraud. For the first time, she didn't cry. She folded it, placed it in a box, and whispered, Tomorrow I get my name back. But far away, in a glass office high above the city, Daniel Cross was watching the same news feed. He saw the announcement, Alexander Grant to hold major press conference. Daniel's jaw tightened. He picked up his phone and said coldly, If he talks, make sure he never reaches that stage. The next morning, the city buzzed with news. The billionaire Alexander Grant was holding a press conference. Every major news channel was there. Reporters crowded the hall, cameras flashing. Maya stood in the back, nervous, clutching her small purse. She didn't belong in this world anymore, and she knew it. But Emily found her and held her hand. You're brave for coming, she whispered. Maya smiled faintly. No, sweetheart. Your father's the brave one today. Moments later, Alexander stepped onto the stage. His face was calm but pale. Every flashbulb hit him like lightning. He began. For years, my company has been praised for its innovation, for a formula that built our empire. But today, I must tell you the truth. That formula wasn't ours. It was stolen. A murmur rippled through the room. Cameras zoomed closer. Alexander continued. The real creator was a woman who worked quietly, alone. She lost everything because we took her work. That ends today. From the corner, Daniel Cross walked in, his face tight with anger. Alex, he said through clenched teeth, think before you speak. Alexander turned the microphone toward him. You want to tell them, Daniel? Or should I? Daniel laughed bitterly. You've gone mad. There's no proof. Alexander raised a folder. There is. Her name was erased, but I found the original files. They carry her signature. M. Carter. Gasps filled the room. Reporters began shouting questions. Daniel's smile disappeared. "You'll regret this, Alex. You'll lose everything." Alexander's voice was steady. "If losing everything means giving her justice, then I'm ready." He turned to the crowd. "I'd like to introduce the woman who deserves the credit, Dr. Maya Carter." Every camera turned. Maya froze, her eyes wide. Emily squeezed her hand. "Go, Maya, it's your moment." Slowly, she stepped forward. The crowd whispered as she climbed onto the stage. The same stage she once dreamed of standing on, before the world had taken her voice. Alexander handed her the microphone. His voice softened. "Tell them the truth." Maya looked at the crowd. Faces, lights, questions. Her voice trembled, but she spoke clearly. "I made that formula. I made it with hope, not for money but to help people. It was stolen from me. But today, I'm not angry anymore, because today someone finally listened." Tears ran down her cheeks. Cameras clicked wildly. The room stood still. Daniel took a step forward, but security blocked him. "You'll pay for this," he shouted. Alexander's tone was calm. "No, Daniel. You will." Within hours, the story spread everywhere. Billionaire CEO exposes partner for stealing black female scientist's work. The internet exploded. The world praised Maya. The company's stock fell, but for once, Alexander didn't care. Later that evening, in the quiet of his mansion, Maya stood by the same whiteboard where everything began. Alexander walked in, no suit, no power in his face, just a man who finally did something right. He said softly, "You got your name back." Maya smiled. "No, sir. You gave it back." He shook his head. "You earned it. I just told the truth." Emily joined them, wrapping her arms around Maya. "You're part of our family now," she said. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Family," she whispered. "I forgot what that felt like." Outside, the sun set over the city that once broke her, now whispering her name again with respect. For the first time in years, Maya felt light, free, and as she looked at the whiteboard, she smiled. "Sometimes," she said softly, "life takes everything from you just to give it back when you're ready." Alexander nodded. "And sometimes justice just needs one person brave enough to speak." The room went silent, not from fear this time, but from peace. Maya picked up the marker and began writing again, not as a maid, not as a forgotten name, but as Dr. Maya Carter, the woman who taught the billionaire's daughter and changed their lives forever.